Greetings. This is Skyler Saunders Singh. What's current? Richard James, salute to you. Thank you for being in the room. I have a 5 minute grace period. At least. And like Richard Troy Star Terrain said, what about Michael Jackson? He said, make him wait. He just stood there. Michael Jackson was just standing there and just basking in it. He said, make him wait. But we're gonna get into this now. The question of the day: could you walk with Jesus? Now, this is a loaded question. And I took a little bit of time, trying to research in my mind and have as much, Christian uh, education as I've had, for 16 years. And then beyond that, as an atheist, studying Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, just those faiths. And of course, there's philosophies from Nietzsche to going back to the Greeks, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and so many others. Thales. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I always pronounce it wrong. It's either Thales or Thales. I always mispronounce it. So please forgive me and write in the comment section, you dumb, stupid person. It's pronounced this way. Okay. But Richard James is saying I couldn't walk with Jesus because I can't walk on water like he does. Well, that's all a matter of faith. I'm asking, could you, as a Christian, as somebody that, I'm saying if you are a Christian or somebody that was a Christian like myself, could you have walked with Jesus? Now, here's the difference, especially with Jesus. He said, Jesus has all power in his hands, but really, I have to say this is going to be super controversial, but Jesus was more of a wimp. Jesus was wimpy compared to, say, Muhammad. Muhammad was virulent. He had children. He had different adventures that he went on that were, manly. They're almost like Herculean tasks that he had to perform. And in relation to Islam and Christianity, it was like a total, day and night. They prized, the idea of fighting and of even though people say Islam is a faith of peace, it's really not. Islam means to submit. That's what Islam is. And if you could walk with Jesus, I know Richard James is being funny. He's trying to be, trying to get, he's trying to be subversive. But I just want to seriously know: could you walk with Jesus? Now, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, Ye, once had a monumental song called "Jesus Walks," and it said, "Jesus walks with me." But could you walk with Jesus? There's a difference there. I know it seems like it's the same thing. Well, if he's walking with me, I'm walking with him. No. He would be walking with you because that was the ideology that he had set forth, that he was the Son of God and the Son of Man, and which is narcissistic beyond anything I can even, understand. He said, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life." Now that's a selfish, statement on the surface. Of course, it's not selfish because it's not based in reality. But it's a narcissistic one, definitely, saying you are the one and only true God in flesh, and that you will be crucified and come down off the cross and put in a cave, and then when the stone rolls away, nothing's there. Well, I got some news for you. Around that time period, bodies were stolen all the time. Bodies were always taken. And it just so happens that I'm sure Jesus' body was stolen from the crypt. I'm pretty sure about that. So when they said he's not there, What do you think? I mean, how many other people were just like when people were crucified? Thousands of people were crucified. Thousands. But we associate the cross with Jesus of Nazareth. We associate the idea that he was the only one put to death by the cross. And that's just completely not true. But we have him as the poster boy for being on the cross. And other, scrolls and other pieces of literature, it says that he died on a post, just sticking out of the ground, just a beam sticking out of the ground, and he was tied to it, and brutalized and suffered on a post, not on the cross. So I ask again, could you walk with Jesus? You want everything for yourself. You're selfish. You Christians, you're really selfish. You try to say, "Oh, I'm unselfish. I'm not selfless. I'm selfless. I I help out the needy and the poor and everybody that's I'm very altruistic." But you want Jesus to walk with you. You want him to heal you. You want him to take care of you. You want him to provide for you. You want to die and go to heaven. You want to walk and talk with Jesus in the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses. That's what you want. That's the kind of idea that's so disgusting, I think, in Christianity. Is the idea that they don't want to admit that they're really selfish bastards. Selfish sons of bitches. Selfish, may not be evil, but selfish is a virtue according to Ayn Rand. We get that. But when you try to combine that with Christianity, and Christianity is a halfway selfish ideology or faith. Islam, Judaism especially is selfish. They're not like with the Watchtower or the Awake, like the what are they called? Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not like the Seventh-day Adventists. They're not like they're not on missions. They're not like the Mormons. They're not trying to change anybody's mind about their faith. They're keeping their faith to themselves. They're raised on the Torah. They're raised on the Kabbalah system. They're raised on a multitude of different ideologies and thoughts and faith, and it comes to a point where they're so educated that they become lawyers and doctors and educators and CEOs and different things like that because they have the training, not because they're Jews or anything like that. It's because, and I'm not trying to Kanye myself. I'm just saying about the Jewish faith. I'm just saying they have more knowledge and more education than any other or most other people, most other faiths. They have very concise and strong convictions within their faith. So if you were to walk with Jesus, who was a Jew, by the way, he hated the law of Judaism so much that he claimed his way to the unknown and the unknowable, as Mr. Troy Sartarain once said in his book. Read it sometime. Objective Hate. Jesus was, purported to be about peace. He was purported to be about solemnity and calmness. But he said, "I didn't come for peace." I'm paraphrasing the Bible. He said, "I came to bring a sword." And he may be talking, metaphorically, but even in a metaphorical sense, this is a strong statement. This is saying that he is all powerful, almighty, all knowing. And the Jews just looked at him like, You're what? You're not God. Get out of here. Like, they just disregarding him. And same thing with Islam. Islam is about the end of the world. They're trying to drive the end of the world to be set on the stage so that Muhammad can take down the ideology of a whole new world, a whole different space. That's what Islam is about. That's what their whole modus operandi is consists of. Well, Richard James is saying Jesus sounds pretentious. I mean, it's even deeper than that, and even more. Jesus was, just a man. If that, I mean, a lot of people want to. Yeah, I'm arguing. Okay, say he was real, and he actually walked the earth. He was a real, actual human being that walked the earth. I disregard all the quote unquote miracles. I disregard all the quote unquote happenings that that allegedly took place that would amp up the idea of him being the true and one and only force within the faith. And it's all borrowed. Like I said, the Old Testament. A lot of people argue, even my own father, he's a minister. Go figure. That's always fun at dinner time. The grace and everything. Oh, it's wonderful. It's great. I actually make sure they tell the grace. They say the grace now. But anyway, I would say, Jesus had, very, very little limited a scope of things. I mean, there's jokes. Patton Oswalt even made a joke. Patton Oswalt made a joke like, if you want to read the Bible and at least you read a book, at least you're reading something. But if you're going to read the Bible, look at how many there's monsters, there's incest, there's adultery, there's sodomy, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that goes on in the Bible. And it's like when you come to Jesus, they make him into a superhero, but like, what did he do? I mean, read it. I just went to, this is why I go to church. I get to learn. It's good teaching. It's for free. I'm not a member, so I don't pay the tithe. I'm just a visitor. So, incest, Richard James, and I gives your bingo free space. Incest with David's son and daughter, or I think, or something like that. I think it's David's son and somebody else, but they're actually linked together. They're actually family members. So you can look that up. David's lineage. Just type in David's lineage and incest. I'm gonna do it right now. Sister, here it is. The incest of Amnon, the son of David, with his sister Tamar. They had incest. So I mean, look it up. It's in the book. Yes, it's real. I mean, just imagine the beginning. Adam and Eve. Adam had two sons. I mean, Adam and Eve had two sons. How else was the world being made? Come on now. Just put two and two together there. How else was the world going to get made? They didn't have two. They had two sons, and come on, just do the math. Just figure it out in your head. What happened? How we had more than a few people on Earth. Yeah, they did. They didn't. Richard James said they made sweet love. I think he actually they didn't make sweet love. He actually sexually assaulted her. He raped her. So that's another thing. Rape. It's like a novel. I mean, they're all stories. It's all stories. It's all folklore anyway. That's all it is the Bible. But I was saying, like, the Old Testament is all Judaism. The New Testament, they're like, get out of here. I'm all right. No thanks. I'll keep my Old Testament. I'll keep my G-D. I'll keep my yarmulke. I'll keep, my traditions. I'll keep my holidays. I'll keep them holy. God's chosen people, the Jews. And I don't mean just the Jews. I'm not trying to say it like that. I'm just saying that Jewish people, and they're the chosen people. They're God's people. And then you have Christians. Christians are the most, they're like a person who just spends on money with a credit card and just runs it up and just runs it up and runs it up and runs it up, and then looks to see, for bankruptcy and everything like that. Like that's all they do. They can do whatever the hell they want. You can do whatever the hell you want when you're a Christian. You can murder little boys, rape them while they're dead, go to prison for 50 years, and on the you're heading towards 80 or 90 years old, and you say to the chaplain, "Oh, I forgive him my sins. I'm please give me clemency, give me absolve me of my sins," and you're set. You're set spiritually. You could still be set, in a jail somewhere, but in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul, and I don't mean those mystically, even though I'm talking about something mystical. You're clean. You're fresh. They say, I was black as sin, but Jesus' red blood washed me white as snow. And if that's not partially racist, saying something that's black is evil, now I'm starting to sound like Muhammad Ali. Why the devil food's cake got to be black, and why the angel's food cake got to be white? I'm not trying to go that far, but what I'm saying is, Richard James, you're asking a question. You're asking another question. Make sure you put some dollar signs on it. I'll get to that if you put some dollar signs on it. But no, they got free range. Oh, I shot and killed my mom, and I'm going to jail. But before then, I just want to accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and everything's okay. I can go into heaven now. You can do whatever the hell you want. That's what the thing with Christianity. You can do whatever the hell you want, just as long as you get in between in time. Just as long as you get to the Jesus part, where you say, "Hallelujah, thank you, Father. Let me be. This is your humble son or humble daughter, and I'm just wanting to know if you could just forgive me of my sins. I will never do it again." And then you do it again. Oh, this is my second plea to you, Jesus. I know. Third plea, oh, holy Jesus, Father, Son of the Father, Jesus Christ, could you please absolve my sins? I mean, we can see it through everything. You see it in our culture, and in our movies. Godfather comes to mind. I mean, they have that intercutting, they have that duality of a life, being christened, and a life being killed, a life being taken. That's what it is. I mean, you ask anybody, on the street, do you believe in God? Oh yeah, I believe in God. Do you do everything? No, you don't do everything that goes into it. You don't read the Bible. Nobody reads the Bible. I don't read the Bible until it's something I have to research, like this. I had to research from Sunday, like I said, with the incestuous relationship between David's son Amnon and his sister Tamar. That's the issue. That's the main draw of all this. That's the power behind what faith purports, what it tries to convey to the layman, all the way up to the PhDs with in divinity. You have to have an understanding of Jesus in some way. But what I'm showing you is, and what I'm asking you is, could you walk with Jesus? We all know Jesus walks, and that's all I can say before I get a copyright strike. But Jesus walks with me. I want Jesus to walk with me. Is that selfish? Why don't you walk with Jesus, not Jesus walk with you? I am weak, but he is strong. Is Jesus really strong? Did he show himself to be somebody that was, of strength? One of his only acts of, aggression or anger or anything was especially documented within the temples, where they were changing money. They're essentially just like what we have today, exchanging the different currencies from one, from like say the British pound or the euro into the US dollar. That's all they were doing. They were just changing the money over in the temple, and Jesus knocked over the tables and said, essentially, not in my Father's house. This will not happen. You will not be changing money over. That was like his only act of like, whoa, this guy's, kind of out of there. But that was it. I mean, there are so many more examples of, his I wouldn't say cowardice, but just his, just softness. He was just weak. He wasn't strong or powerful or anything like that. He was a weakling. And he just claimed his way to the unknown and the unknowable. He said that I'm the Son of God and the Son of Man. How? How is that even possible? How did that even come up? He said he was born of a Virgin Mary. Okay. Another leap of faith. Another way of, saying, oh, well, that makes sense. That's okay. You can have a birth without conception, and you can have a birth without, someone, actually being in the presence, this unknown, unknowable, non-existent being up there, wherever up there is, beyond the stars, beyond the planets, beyond this galaxy. What? Or is he, like, you have to be dead to know that? That's the thing. That's the thing with Christians. You have to be dead in order to, reap the benefits of all that is. Jews, Muslims, they enjoy life. They're more so accustomed to life. The closest in Christianity that enjoys life is probably the Catholics. They have strictures. They have take what you want, but pay for it. That's a classic line. God said, take what you want, but pay for it. That's a classic quote. I'm gonna look up that real quick. Hold on. Just give me a moment. I just thought of that. Take what you want, but pay. It's a proverb. So it's like saying, God saying, take what you want and pay for it. You gotta think about the Catholics. They can have all the babies they want as long as you're married. That's paying for it. You gotta be in the union of marriage. You can't commit adultery. You can't go outside. You can't be within, some kind of ideas of not loving your spouse. You have 10, 20 kids. Those are those big Catholic, Irish Catholic or Roman Catholic families, that had all those kids. That's because they have the free reign. They have the marriage. The marriage locks it down. But you can't have the 10 kids in your so-called Catholic outside of the realm of marriage, outside of the bonds of marriage. So just taking into that account, could you walk with Jesus? Could you stand up and walk with this man who claimed to be the Son of God? And this is the thing that I'm very confused about. And if somebody could, break it down to me, let me know what it really means. See if I can understand this properly. Jesus is really coming back the third time. Let that seep in. He came once during the birth. Then he died. He came back. A lot of people don't talk about this. He came back to show his disciples. Okay. Maybe I did. Maybe that is it. I think I answered my own question right there. This is the second coming. Because nobody talks about the first coming. They think the first coming is his birth. But it's not. The first coming back, coming back was when he showed his disciples, especially doubting Thomas, who said, let me see your hands. And he showed his hands where the nails were driven through. And this is the interesting part to me. If he die and go to heaven and then you come back, which is, I guess, the first, return, first coming of Christ, is that the same thing? So you don't have any repairs. Like, you still have I'm just confused. Somebody please help my dumb ass. Help me understand how he comes back to the earth with the nails marked, the marks of the nails in his hands, but he went to heaven. So if you're in heaven, what are you? What are you? I want to know. What are you? Because I thought when you're in heaven, this is the question that we have to all face, I guess. What are you? What about the people that are cremated? Faiths don't have a problem with cremation. Nobody knows what age you are, what color you are, where you are. There's pearly gates, there's streets of gold, there's mansions. Nobody knows that they're part of the union. Nobody knows they're part of a set of ideas. Nobody knows. That's the thing. And that's the thing that's scary about Christianity and all the other faiths. Well, we got to see when we die. While we're here, we can do whatever the hell we want. But beyond that, it's a crapshoot. Sadly. And billions of people's minds. Not millions, not thousands, but billions. And I was one of them, I have to admit. I really, truly and prayed and fasted and did all the things you're supposed to do. But I had to stop it. After I read the Virtue of Selfishness by Ayn Rand, that cut off everything. Because it's not about the people. It's about the ideas. And I'm going to church, and I'm in the church for over a decade plus. And it's about the relationships you have with people, but it's the ideas. So I say I'm an atheist, and they're not atheists, so there's obviously tension there. There's contention. There's a disconnect. So it's not about the faith itself or the non-faith. It's about you saying what is true. Because it's like a truth thing. It's like, oh, so you were lying this whole time kind of thing? No, I just didn't have the right ideas. I didn't have I didn't have the truth. And that's what tore me up so much, because I didn't understand how to best, convey that. So I just left the church. I just stopped going one Sunday. I didn't go anymore. And because there's no rule book, there's no, no schedule or agenda. Oh, when you actually commit to being an atheist, you have to go to each and every person and say, I'm an atheist. I used to be a Christian, but now I have a new set of ideals and values. Like, you don't have that. It's not natural. What's natural is, I think, the closest thing is I did. It's when I see people, it's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm not going to church for those reasons. I go to church to learn, just to get the message. Okay. Richard James is saying he has a daughter who's a Satanist. I don't know if he's trolling. I can't tell sometimes. Sometimes he's serious. Sometimes he's trolling. But I'll take him at his word for now. But, back to what I was saying. Could you walk with Jesus? Something to think about. Something to consider. All right. So Now we have to talk about ruler of the kingdom of the air. And this is so prescient to what I just described earlier, because this comes from the Bible. I'm going to just give away a little bit of it. I'm not going to give away the whole thing. I'm not going to spoil it too much. But the whole agenda, the whole idea is Ephesians 2:2. Beware the power of the ruler of the kingdom of the air. Or in some references, it says the power of the prince of the air. And that's that's Satan. That's Lucifer. That's the devil. So many different words. But in the story, you'll find out what Lucifer really means and what it means to, the parents and what they can do. That's the part that is so powerful. So when I say that there are different elements to this story, it's just a chapter. It's just one chapter and one verse, one Bible. No, no, but I kid. But it's about the idea of, satirical ideas. This is part satire that I'm realizing right now, because if it has any power, any truth, it may change people's minds. Because you say, hey, well, you can't have Lucifer, you can't have Satan in a story like that and have him with, power, and you can't do that. But it says in the Bible, he's the ruler of the kingdom of the air. He's the prince of the power of the air. That's what it says. Ephesians 2:2. I'll say it again. Ephesians 2:2. In which you used to... Okay, for the whole thing, it starts at 1. As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins, in which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world, catch this, and of the ruler of the kingdom of the air, the spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient. So, there's more issues with the fact that the ruler of the kingdom of the air is negative. But his name is Lucifer too. Look up Lucifer. What does that translate to? I'll give you a moment. I know there's only one person here that I can name. YouTube might have 17,000 people in here. I don't know. I can't tell. But I know there's one person here. There's Richard James. I respect him. He's a day one. But what is there? What is there? What is that? What, like Dr. Yaron Brooks says, there's no there. Like, it doesn't have a backing, and there's no springs, and there's no cushioning. There's nothing for it to fall on. So they say he's the devil. Okay, a spirit, demon, spirit. They're innocuous terms, actually. Satan, adversary, enemy. Same thing. It's like they call America the great Satan. So it's the great enemy. Okay, so you have an enemy. What does the Bible say about enemies? Love your enemies. Do good to those who hurt you. That's what it says. Luke 6:27, Matthew 5:44. People don't take these seriously. People don't take them seriously. They don't. There'll be no Department of Defense. There'll be no Marine Corps. There'll be no Army. There'll be no Navy. There'll be no Coast Guard. There'll be no Space Force. None. There'll be no Air Force. None. Nothing. Nada. Don't believe in it. They got chaplains all over the place. They got all kinds of people that have ministers and different things like that. And then when you die, you still have a burial like you're a Christian and everything was all good in life. And you killed like 30 people and while you were in the armed forces, or there'll be no police force, no police, no military, no judicial system. The three agencies of government that are proper, there will be none. There'll be no judges to say you're going away for 75 life sentences, because that's selfish, and that's thinking about the families that were hurt by this person. And you're going to the electric chair. Can't have that. You can't have that. You can't have it. That's why they're so conflicted. That's why there's so many people that are conflicted with Christianity and other faiths, because they have this mentality that says they can get out of free card, get out of jail free, or get out of hell free card, saying you're saved for your sins. You're saved by the grace of God. You're saved by the blood, by the Father. But is that true? Is that really the truth? Is that what's really going on? How does that equate? How does that even make sense? What do you do about that? How do you even figure that? That's what's so crazy about our world. We live in an insane society, as Dr. Jerome Brooks said. We're all insane. I mean, I'm not insane. And I mean, I'm insane, but I'm not sane to the point of radical, ideation. Completely, detached from reality. But people are detached from reality, but continue to live within it. So they, brush away the ideas of, how many cigarettes they smoke or how many drinks they have. And that's just minor stuff. But you get the major stuff, like raping little babies or something like that. Or kill, bringing down office buildings with commercial planes. Something like that. Something huge like that. And that's what the whole idea is. That's the whole idea. That's what people don't want to really admit to. It's super ironic. Devil just means accuser or slanderer. So you accuse somebody or you slander somebody. It's more than shoot them in the face or damn them to a lake of fire and sulfur and constant burning and torture and torment. Well, torment, I should say, because there's a difference between torture and torment. But torment of hell and the iciness of hell, like Dante. Dante reserves his lowest hell for you be of ice. Look it up. But yeah. So we just have make believe. That's all it is. All faith is make believe. And when we have the Department of Defense and the police forces and the judiciary system, the proper roles of government would not exist if we truly believed in faith. They would not exist. They wouldn't even have any bearing on society whatsoever. That's a fact. People don't take Christianity and Judaism and Islam seriously enough to have that occur. They just say, oh, well, we need the cops. Yeah, we need warriors. Yeah, we need a judge. We need them. I mean, I still believe in God as the judge, but we need something down here on earth. It's got to be concrete. That's what people believe in. Concretes instead of concretes and abstractions. You have to integrate them. So it's a set of ideas that we have to hold on to that we have to think are true, because of the fact that so many people are attached to them. They attach themselves to these ideas. They still pray. They still do that. And I love it. I love when prayer happens. My favorite part is prayer, because I got my eyes open. I don't have my head down, eyes closed. I have my head up, back, eyes open, and I just look around. Who's got their heads up? Who's got their eyes open? And I assume, that they are still believers, and God still has them, but they don't really take it that seriously. They smoke all their weed. They might do coke. They might, have a chick on the side, with their wife. And then they just pray and say, hey, God, I messed up again and again and again and again. And he'll come back to you again and again and again and again. That's why Christianity was created. It's to get out of hell free card. And that's what this story is really about. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to see if, you're going to say, oh, no, that. Now, come on. I know this is fiction, but come on. This is just too much. Let it be too much. Maybe this could be something that could change somebody's completely their thoughts, but that's not the reason why I wrote it. The reason why I wrote it was because it's out of selfish pleasure. Just for the story, like Ayn Rand said. Because I like the idea of the story. I like how it's Roman clay. I like how the fact that it's in a sense an allegory. I like that fact. I like the fact that it takes away the idea of, people just assuming that there's no devil or Satan or Lucifer on the earth. And he's definitely within the earth doing good things. Like how he introduced work and knowledge and sex into the ideas of humanity when they had no clue, according to the myth of Adam and Eve. They didn't have a clue. They didn't know what was what. They ate from the tree of knowledge. Like it's a bad thing. Oh, if they just didn't eat from the tree of knowledge, we would be in Eden and we would be naked and sweltering and have to deal with snakes and like. And that's another thing too with snakes. That's the sickness in the Bible. They made snakes into something that is bad when they're just neutral. They can be bad if you don't treat them with the same respect as you should anything else that's I'm talking about anything that could be venomous or could constrict you or could harm you in some way other than just a small bite, like a garden snake. But I'm talking about something with venom, or something that can wrap around your body and close off all your oxygen and kill you. Those are different things. Snakes aren't inherently evil. They're not inherently bad. They're just snakes. They just live. They have existence. That's what needs to be conveyed. That people don't really understand that. And that's what the sad part about the devil is. His whole lifestyle, his whole life was about being about the good, about letting you know what is good and bad, what is knowledge, what is right and wrong. And so he's punished. And it says that the woman will strike her heel against his head as a serpent. I mean, what is he? Is he a serpent? Is he a man? Is he an angel? Is he a fallen angel? How many different interpretations of the Bible can we come up with? How many different ways can we convey the same message? So that's what I try to do with one chapter. The one chapter that I have, I'm trying to convey to the people that it's about self. It's about selfishness. It's about rationality. Green Stockwell is selfish. He wants to know more about his son. So he investigates. He goes to his grandmother. He goes to his professor. He goes to the library. I'm just giving you plot points. But you have to fill in the details by reading it. You have to understand that this is a man that is very serious about what is going on in his son's life. His son is just a newborn. He's just a baby, just a tiny little baby. But he's getting word from his brother-in-law that he's some kind of Lucifer or devil or some kind of thing like that. And like this infuriates Green because he's an atheist. He's not with the devil and and Lucifer and everything like that. Not to the fact that what most Christians are saying, like, oh my God, I don't want my child to be Lucifer. He's just saying that he gets upset because of the fact that he cares for the welfare of his child. Richard James, I do appreciate you. Make sure you're telling other people about this story. Make sure you're telling people about this broadcast. I appreciate you. Thank you. You're day one. And remember, if you want to ask questions, just put like $5 or $10 on it. That's all we got to think about. I appreciate you. So, with the understanding of our entire being, how we live, and what we do, you have to think about just mainly entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs have foundations, they have institutes, they have different things like that, but not for all their money. Not all their money is into the institute or the foundation. They give up a little bit, but not much. And plus, it's for tax reasons. I mean, I'm not trying to sound condescending or in a way of not just condescending and or sarcastic or or something like that along those lines. I'm just saying how it comes down to a point where you have all these billionaires. Why don't they give away all their money? And why don't they all live in a tent? And why don't they all show a little blood, like Dr. Yaron Brooks said about Bill Gates? Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all of them should give up all their billions of dollars if they believe in God. If they believe in, because that's what they're going to, that's the thing. That's the guilt. They call it the giving pledge, but it's really the guilt pledge. It's like, well, I've made all keyword, I've made all this money. I didn't steal all this money. I didn't, con anyone out of this money. I earned this money. But you know what? There's poor people, and there's people in the streets, and there's 900 million people around the world that are literally defecating in the fields, and there's 3.5 billion of people without toilet system and sanitation. And people even in America, there's people in the streets and homeless in San Francisco and Seattle and there's wars of gunfights in Chicago and Philadelphia and New Orleans and Miami, and it's like I have to do something. I have to, because I believe in God, and God says I have to do this, and I have to do this. But wait, it's a tax break. That's even better for me. More selfishness, but it's selfishness without a self. Ayn Rand coined that term. That's a beautiful, concise term. Selfishness without a self. That means you're acting in a selfish way, but you're not consciously thinking of yourself. You're thinking of what you can gain, but not how you can gain it or why you're gaining it. You're just gaining it, and you're saying, well, that's a good thing because I'm helping other people, but I'm going to help myself. But the problem is you're helping other people for a reason that you're trying to help yourself. Like, you should help yourself only, and other people should be a second thought. They shouldn't even consider it. It shouldn't even be considered what other people think or what other people do. If you want to help people, do it selfishly. Continue with your foundation or your institute. That's great. But don't have a pledge called the giving pledge, which really is the guilt pledge. It says, oh, I'm going to give away all my money, before I die, whatever it is. I'm going to give away half my money, while I'm living, or, whatever the case may be. That's how serious this is. That's how, important it is to recognize. That's what makes this whole issue pertinent and important. And that's why I try to write it with my first chapter. And I'm really considering making a full book about this. I want to see if I can win the GAN, the Great American Novel Challenge, with Vocal.media. That's the show. That's the story, by the way. I'm gonna put that in the live chat. Put that in the live chat right now. Okay. Bear with me. Ruler of the Kingdom of the Air. So that's in the live chat. And I'm saying it's for the rebroadcast. You can go to vocal.media, vocal.media. So that is a driving force, because it's madness. It's all madness. We all know that there is no God. Everyone knows that little voice that always talks about for being God. No, the little voice is saying there is no God. There is no real spiritual sense of a Jesus. Even if he did walk the earth as a man, what was he, a superhero? I mean, superheroes make lunch for everybody, like Patton Oswalt said. I mean, that's weird. That he fed 5,000 people, fish and bread. Great. And he turned water into wine. Great. Now you know how to make lunch and dinner. Like, how's that anything like close to being supernatural or powerful or something to say he was? And he raised people up from the dead. Maybe he wasn't dead, like George Carlin said. Maybe he just had a hangover. It was really about to be, just had he was just maybe he was just dope sick, whatever kind of drug they had back then. And he was fiending. And he may have acted in Iraq. All the spirits that were driven out of people. Maybe they were just dope sick, and they were just wanted another hit. I'm just saying. I think you should read The Ruler of the Kingdom of the Air, share it, let other people know about it, bring it into reality. Let other people get the gist of it. If they don't get it the first time, tell them to read it the second time. Read it over and over again. Share it with another person. So this is serious business. This is about somebody's life. This is about a lot of lives. This is about Gambina. This is about the professor. This is about so many people that are within this story. This is about the grandmother Serena. This is all about them. This is about Green Stockwell. This is about Stockwell, a businessman, senior vice president of Della Credit credit cards. So if you have any inclination into what it means to be a proper human being, you should read this story. Read this chapter. It's only 3,300 words. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It flies by. I try to make the pace as quick as possible. It doesn't plod. It doesn't slow down. It continues and continues and continues to the very end. And then it leaves you on a cliffhanger. So I need you to invest your time, invest your dollars if you must. I would appreciate that. And the idea of the tips I can receive. Tell the editors of and the judges, this is a great story, something like that. I'm not going to do that. It's not my place. I think it's great, but you may not think it's great. I heard good reactions to it, quality replies, but I still am worried about the fact that people will not get the gist of it. Some people say well written but puzzled. It's like, well, what are you puzzled about? I can't communicate with them. I don't have the the means to do that, but I would love to hear people's reactions to it. Salute Greg S is in the building, comes through at like my shows are like an hour long, right? And then salute Greg comes in and says salute to Greg. Greg's great. Respect the goal. Are you still broke? Are you broke still? You still didn't get paid yet? You still free riding? You still freeloading? At least Richard James has shared the story. He shared it with a few people. Still broke, but not for long. Okay, I'll wait. We'll see what happens on Friday. If Friday's your payday, Greg's still broke. Yeah. Well, Richard James, you're still broke too. You can't call the pot can't call the kettle white. You can't do that, my friend. Okay, now they're having a little squabble about who's more broke than the other. Oh my God! All right. So earlier I said, could you walk with Jesus? And I'm wondering if you could walk with Lucifer. Could you give him your understanding, not in some Satanist, devil worshiping mess? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that you can have a person come to your mind and think about what the devil was and devil is and what he represented, and the fact that he had full power. He was the one with the power. They call him the prince of the power of the air. It's another way of Ephesians 2:2. Okay, so I can't get to that. I'm looking for. Okay, it says, and as Paul makes clear, the course of this world follows the leadership and design of Satan, the prince of the power of the air. So it's the same thing as the ruler of the kingdom of the air. I just like the ruler of the kingdom of the air. I thought it sounded better. SOS, what happened? I don't think anything happened. So, in these closing moments, there are 4 people. Okay, this is the funniest part of the whole show. I got like less than 2 minutes left, and I got 4 people in this room. Whoever is in this room, show yourself. Show yourself right now. Show yourself. Tell me, did the screen go black right now? Is the screen black right now? Tell me if the screen is black. I don't really believe you, Greg S. You need more people. It is not now. Okay. Is it black right now? Okay, there's 3 people in here. Everybody who's in here put up a 1. Billy Spleen. Billy Spleen. Respect the goal. Billy Spleen, you don't have to give up $80 if you don't want to right now. All I'm looking for is 5s and 10s and 20s. That's all I'm looking for. 5, 10s, and 20s. That's all I'm putting out, my hand, for the money to be put into my digital account. What's up? What's up, man? Hey, I can go for a little bit longer if you put in $5, $10, $20. I don't know. Billy Spring might have that cash app. Let me make sure I put up my cash app. Let me make sure I put up my cash app. Cash app $ Skyler Saunders 1. So if you have the inclination to put in a few dollars, feel free. All right, I'll give you 2 minutes, and I'm gonna talk about the idea of how ruler of the kingdom of the air came apart. I don't even think I came to it late. I didn't look up in the Bible. Okay, what name should I have this? I just thought of something that would be sounding cool, and I saw it somewhere. I said, "Ruler of the kingdom of the air." That sounds cool, and it took me to the end of the story to go to the Bible and see that was on. I went online and put in "Ruler of the kingdom of the air," and it said the prince of the power. All right, keep your word, Billy Spling. I'm about to be out of here. I thank you for coming in. Thank you for being part of the show. The name is cool. I'm not going to lie on that one. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's long. It uses the of the, and that's elegant. Some people say, but a lot of things are ugly. Are long titles. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I mean, really long titles, great movies. I think I wrote a great story. You may not think that. It's the same thing with, that's the idea of self-esteem. You can't say anything else besides yourself. Nobody else can take away your self-esteem or bolster your self-esteem or do anything to your self-esteem. It's how you view, how you understand, how you comprehend yourself. And with that note, I thank you very much. I appreciate Greg S., Billy Spleen, and of course, Richard James. Thank you very much, and thank you for reading and doing that. All right, now Greg has to say some other stuff. He's going way left. All right, I have to get out of here. Thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy the rebroadcast, and take care.